Hmm. So freaking gross. Oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. How's it going? Me? I've been binging the Grand Library's Junji Ito collection for the past couple of days. Who's Junji Ito? He's a Japanese horror comic book artist and writer. You know how in stories like Game of Thrones, where nothing is sacred, anybody can die, and there may not even be any rhyme or reason to it? Well, imagine that, but in comic book form. Junji Ito's storytelling philosophy lies pretty squarely in the realm of explicit nihilism. Nihilism is the idea that things like religion, moral principles, and even the real meaning of existence is that it has no meaning at all. The universe doesn't care about you, and at the end of the day, it'll go on with or without you. Ito's writing, while mostly body horror, consists of creatures, ideas, and events that aren't really meant to be stopped or anything. If it were a plague, there would be no cure. If it was a meteor coming at the Earth, there would be no stopping it. If it was a world-ending Lovecraftian monster, the world would end, whether you like it or not, etc., etc. He writes about all manner of horrific events and monsters that kind of follow that formula. The protagonists in his tales, if you could even call them that, are not incredible or even particularly interesting people. They're all just witnesses. Witnesses to horror or monsters or world-ending events that they have absolutely no power to stop or get away from. Now, why would you want to read something like this? Well, for me, the absence of plot armor is kind of exciting. Plot armor is what a character in a story has where they can't die or can't fail in the grand scheme of things, not because they're invincible, but because they're the main character and the plot needs them to succeed. In Ito's writing, no one has plot armor, and any event that transpires can and usually will kill everyone involved in horrific ways. If I may quote a movie at you, only mortals that risk losing can know true excitement. That's sort of how I feel about it. Nothing is sacred, the characters don't matter, bad things are happening, and all you can do is sit back and watch. Kind of like a wreck on the highway. Sometimes the characters survive, sometimes they don't, sometimes they meet fates worse than death. Each of these short stories you delve into with Junji Ito's writing is an absolute roll of the dice in a way that even George R.R. Martin or Howard Lovecraft can't really convey. Well, let me tell you about just one of his stories. It's called Hanging Blimp. After an idol/actress commits suicide by hanging, a gigantic blimp-like version of her head appears in the sky. Later, her boyfriend is lured up into a tree trying to talk to her and is hung by a waiting metal noose. His head then gets ripped off his body and floats up into the sky, turning into a giant balloon as well. Then more head-shaped balloons show up, seeking out the people that they look like. Instead of strings, they're all tied with nooses. So a balloon seeks out the person that they look like, hangs them by their noose, and that's the end of them. Shooting or popping any of the balloons kills the person that they look like. Before long, everyone in the country, everyone in the world, has a balloon that has either already killed them or is endlessly seeking them out to hang and kill them. Now, if that sounds horrific and insane, yes, that's what Junji Ito's writing is like. A nightmare scenario that has no real solution or answer that the average person just cannot deal with. There's no stopping it, there's no beating it, it's just happening. Horrifically happening. And this is one of his tamer stories. He's got a lot of body horror, blood, monsters, all sorts of scary stuff. Junji Ito is a wildly talented manga writer and artist. I really enjoy his stuff a lot if I'm looking for something gruesome. Oh, what about you? Are you into horror stuff at all? It can be hard to find an author that you like that isn't big and obvious, like Stephen King or Clive Barker or Anne Rice. If you ever have any questions or need recommendations, I'm your owl, okay? See you later.